Many of you may be familiar with the term that it takes a village to raise a child. In case you're not, what it means is that people in a community share a common goal of looking out for one another. It's a value that many grandparents had years ago. But with the kidnapping of J.C. Dugard, the murder of Sandra Cantu, and the disappearance of Hassani Campbell, we want to talk about why it appears that Americans have lost that sense of community and what can be done to get it back. Do you believe that Americans have lost a sense of community in light of what happened to J.C. Dugard and Sandra Cantu, the kidnapping of them?
I don't know. It's probably too soon to tell. It's only been a couple days. I think I've spoken with friends who are in their mid-30s. I think in the last 15 to 20 years, I think there probably has been a little bit of a change. I think, kids these days aren't allowed to go out as far, from their houses. There's a lot more kind of organized playtime that's sort of, that is monitored versus at least when I was a kid, you roam free the entire day, no cell phone, and you kind of had to have some kind of security in your community that, I wouldn't get assaulted or kidnapped. So it's kind of, I don't know. I think people just, mentality was different then. So I think now people are just, in general, they're a lot more cautious. And then a lot of these stories really get plugged on TV, and they get so much coverage that maybe this did exist back then. But because it's so kind of prevalent now, I think people are a lot more cautious. So I think,
So what do you think can be done to get that sense of community back?
Know your neighbor, maybe. I think everybody's so worried about property lines and, you just get to know kind of your neighbors, just have some sort of relationship with them. Again, I think, everyone works really hard and everyone kind of silos their lives away. And if you actually take time to kind of have a 4th of July barbecue or to do something to kind of get to know people, I think that'll definitely be a first step towards it.
And then,
what do you think can be done to create a sense of community in our neighborhoods so that our children can be safe?
well, I work personally for the YMCA, so I think nonprofit organizations that help encourage the younger generations especially, and I think access to less technology for the younger generation, I think that would be a good start, just to kind of make the kids realize, oh, there's more than just a TV screen or a computer in front of me. There's actually people talking to real people and not texting or anything like that.
Do you believe that Americans have lost a sense of community?
No, I don't.
Are you familiar with the J.C. Dugard case?
I am, yes.
Why do you think no one noticed her being kidnapped from a bus stop?
I just assumed from what I read about it that it's kind of a strange, desolate area. But that's what I think.
What do you think can be done to increase community awareness as to if someone would actually pay more attention to see these kind of things happening in communities?
Well, hopefully stories like that, as tragic as they are, cause us all to look around a little more.
I don't think there is much of a sense of community in America.
And why do you think that is?
Personally, because I'm a single person, and all the focus in politics, it seems to be family this and family that, and all the focus on the whole insurance, health insurance thing seems to be not necessarily focused on individuals as much as helping families, but individuals have to feel a part of things too. And so it's my responsibility to get out there. As far as feeling a sense of my community and my neighborhood in San Francisco, most definitely. I live across from a park. There's homeless people there, whether by choice or whatever, and I feel good about taking my food that's left over or buying something extra and taking it to them because they're the people that are here and around me, We all have dogs, a lot of us, so we go to the dog park, we chit-chat, we see each other every day. If we don't see someone, say, where were you yesterday? So that feels really great. But as far as overall in the country, and then as far as a kidnapping, I don't know if it's changed the sense of community, but whenever a child is kidnapped, and there's focus pushed on it, I think of the 50 other or 500 others that have been snatched up that nobody cares about. And it's frustrating. And so I feel like maybe the media puts focus on one when we should all be looking at the big picture, the bigger problem.
Do you think it appears that people are not paying attention to kidnappings in neighborhoods?
I'm not sure about that. I think it's more the case some people are sick and they do some sick things. And I think as a majority we're good people, and I don't think that's necessarily the case.
How is it in your community? Do you feel a sense of belonging or involvement?
Well, I believe that I don't have any kids, but I know how my parents raised me. They were always there for me, and when I have kids, I'll be the same. You know, I'll be very vigilant and make sure I pay attention. And I think it's more of a matter of responsibility for one versus a whole community, because people are too busy for community necessarily these days.
What do you think? Do you think that community, a sense of community and people? Sorry.
Bad timing, huh?
I know, right in the middle. Do you think that a sense of community awareness and people having that general concern for each other, especially people you live close to, how do you think that can be restored and that people can become more aware?
Well, I'm not sure if that can happen because of technology. Things are, cell phone, internet, text, emails. So I think these days, community is not what it used to be, at least for me. So I don't know if what was can ever be restored.
I don't know if we necessarily lost our sense of community. I think the world is becoming a more global kind of atmosphere. And because of that, I think there's, whether it's like most people communicate on Facebook or on the internet, and it's become somewhat detached, but I think we still have our humanity, which is what we have to hold on to, because that's what bonds us all as individuals.
Well, the reason why we decided to do this episode is because of the kidnapping of J.C. Dugard, and children in different communities are just disappearing. And back in the 60s when my grandparents were alive, there was a sense of community in a number of neighborhoods where children couldn't just end up missing because there was always someone watching. And
well, in terms of like kind of speaking to that, I think it does take a village. It does take a community that's like, is involved and responsible. And our daughter is 2.5, and she is everything to us. But, it's as the world evolves, I think that, as more things change, hopefully more things stay the same, and hopefully people are going to have that sense of community where it does take a village and people are responsible. I am my brother's keeper. And then that is the thing that, is our humanity, which will pull us together and make us more responsible to make the type of heinous things that you were speaking about not happen.
These things?
I don't know if you'd blame kidnappings on a loss of, on community or lack of community. I blame it on, indirectly I think you can, but I blame it on people who are very twisted and almost unhuman. The people that stole that girl 18 years ago are it's hard to see them as human. But I'm not sure. Maybe those people have become that way because of some or some lack of community on their part. But I think it's a pretty complicated case. Yeah, it'd be hard to analyze why they were twisted enough to do what the things that they did.
After speaking with people today, we found that many still enjoy their neighborhoods, and they say that the kidnapping of children has little to do with community, but more so the mentality of the person. Others said that getting to know your neighbor will increase a sense of community. Please post your comments at www.youtube.com/JadeOP. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.